Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers watching my channel. I just want to say, give you all a special shout out here on my show and just wish you all the best and thank you for watching my channel. Today we have a really big video. Some major arrests are taking place, FBI raids, and we have a lot to uncover, and also some potential new arrests that could be happening as well. I wanted to bring you all the latest. Now, really quick, you might notice that we have a new channel name here. So I've been brainstorming, wanted to come up with a new channel name, freshen it up. So if you see a new channel name, that's why. Just a big happy Mother's Day. So comment happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching this show. We appreciate you so very much. To my mom, if you're watching this video, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. So we're gonna dive in, but before we do, we're gonna read scripture and pray because God comes first. Amen? Comment the word amen in the comment section if you believe that God comes first in your life. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Amen. That's from Hebrews 11:6. And let's pray that all of us continue to seek God, even in the most difficult moments in our life. And my brothers and sisters, congratulations to everyone who has begun investing in the stock market under President Trump. The stock market has been absolutely soaring under the leadership of Donald Trump. We now have a totally free offer linked below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan this QR code. And I also created a free investing tutorial for you to watch as well. And don't worry, you don't need a lot of money to get started. You could literally get started with just a couple bucks. Okay, my friends, look at this. Breaking news. Multiple arrested as FBI executes warrants tied to Democratic senator. This is huge news, guys. Let's listen in.
Breaking news, we said we'd go back to this, and now we can. Federal agents are arresting people in that string of FBI raids across Virginia. This is all connected to an influential Democrat in the Commonwealth of Virginia, State Senator Louise Lucas. They are at her office executing warrants as a part of a major corruption probe. So I want to go back now to Alex Hogan, who's there. Alex.
Hi, Harris. So you can still see that the FBI are behind me. We've been seeing them throughout the morning, bringing boxes in and out. They also told staff members they needed to leave the building. We heard some of those employees coming out saying that they were told they had to leave and they were not allowed back inside. I do want to give you some context of where we are. The FBI not only arriving here at this location, but also at the dispensary, the cannabis dispensary just across the parking lot. And this is a look at what it looked like earlier today with the FBI agents arriving, SWAT teams getting out of their vehicles with weapons, telling people inside that cannabis dispensary to put their hands up and to come outside. At least 3 people were taken into custody. Federal law enforcement say that they're carrying out these court-authorized criminal search warrants at more than 10 locations across the state. Again, this is the State Senator Louise Lucas's office behind me, but we're also learning that she is connected to this dispensary here. Senator Lucas is president pro tem, meaning she's one of the highest and most powerful figures in the entire state legislature. And when she arrived here, I asked her about being here as the FBI raided these locations. Take a listen.
Is there anything that we could say about what they're doing? I don't know what's going on. I just came from another report, so I'm just gonna wait until they tell me.
Wow.
So again, dozens of members of the FBI arriving here and being here throughout the last hour, taking boxes of documents we could imagine from the office behind me. They're also still at this cannabis dispensary. We have seen the senator circle around a couple times in her vehicle. Clearly, as we heard her say in that comment, that she doesn't know why they're here. A lot of questions for the people in the community who are coming out, taking pictures, wondering again what their senator could potentially be involved with, as we're waiting to hear more information as well. Harris.
All right, Alex, thank you. Keep us posted as you have. Great reporting.
Yeah, we also just have breaking news as of just moments ago. New details. ICE has arrested, look at this, an alleged MS-13 gang member here. A suspect illegally entered the United States in 2013.
Local, state, and federal law enforcement all working together to make this arrest happen in Palm Beach County last month. And we're now getting an exclusive look at video of everything that went down. So ICE says they tracked down Luis Mirari Peralta Sevilla, someone they say is a Honduran national, an MS-13 gang member, a known suspect terrorist. And they carried out a coordinated vehicle stop. A deputy commands Peralta Sevilla in Spanish to put his hands up, get out of the truck. And officers eventually pushing Peralta Sevilla to the ground, putting him in handcuffs, arresting him. And ICE says they did find minor narcotics in the...
That's in Green Acres, Florida. Where is Green Acres, Florida? Wow, that's actually really close to Donald Trump. West Palm Beach, Green Acres, Florida. So this guy was arrested right... I mean, this is where Trump is in West Palm Beach. I think he's like somewhere along here. I could be wrong. I think Trump's along here. But look at where Green Acres is. That's just where that guy was arrested. An alleged MS-13 gang member, guys. That is wild. Trump's basically neighboring town.
Truck. Now, ICE says Peralta Sevilla first illegally entered the U.S. in 2013. They say Border Patrol encountered him in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, where he admitted to being in the country illegally. A Justice Department immigration judge then granted him bond. He remained here in the U.S., but he's now in the Palm Beach County Jail pending transfer to ICE custody with hopes of deporting him. And this all comes as Border Czar Tom Homan continues to push ICE efforts across the country. And he says he expects deportation numbers to increase.
We're going to continue doing that. We're going to continue to surge resources, especially the sanctuary cities, because we know we have a problem there. Bottom line is we're not going to give up on President Trump's promise to the American people of mass deportations.
And Kaylee, over to where you are, New York Governor Kathy Hochul is trying to block federal immigration operations there, but Homan is pushing back on that, and he says he is going to, quote, flood the zone.
Yeah, so basically, just so you guys are aware, Tom Homan and Trump's plan now is to really go after sanctuary cities, because while the deportation numbers have been high, they really haven't been high as much as they've wanted to be. So they're gonna really increase. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of more arrests and deportations over the next 2 years under Donald Trump.
Local, state, and federal law.
And so here's actually Kash Patel detailing how they've now made over 40,000 arrests. The number is closer to 80,000 criminals, but 40,000 violent criminals. So when, you know, people are complaining that the arrests that are taking place, these are, you know, innocent people, well, 40,000 of them at least were violent criminals. Take a listen.
And I don't want to interrupt. Behind statistics are real people. That is like Laken Riley's family, Rachel Morin's family, Jocelyn Nungary's family. Democrats wouldn't stand for them and honor them at that joint session.
I was there. Yeah. So behind not just those families, communities, kids, adults, everybody that wants to live the American dream. In 2025, in 1 year under President Trump's leadership, this FBI arrested 40,000 violent criminals. That's not the total arrest the FBI had. That number's closer to 80,000. But the 40,000 violent criminals we arrested, Sean, was 112% increase from 2024. 112% increase. If this FBI under Donald Trump did nothing else but that is the only thing the mainstream media would be talking about if it was a President Kamala Harris. Now go behind the numbers. How can there be 40,000 violent criminals to arrest by just the FBI in 1 year? Break that down by state. 50 states. You do the math. We're talking murderers, rapists, pedophiles, gangbangers, terrorists, everybody that wants to harm our way of life, that President Trump stood up and ran on and said, we are going to crush violent crime. That's what we did. That number alone is emblematic of two things. One, President Trump is the absolute most successful president in U.S. history in reducing crime in the history of America.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
And two, why are there so many violent criminals in the United States of America? And
That's a very good point. You know, this is a first world country. This is supposed to be a safe country. Why are there so many violent criminals out on the streets too, not locked up?
Hit on it. The open borders policy and the lax rules laid out by the opponents of President Trump to be pro-crime. Remember, these are the defund the blue movement people, to defund law enforcement, Trump resourced law enforcement and the FBI. So that number, 40,000 violent criminals, 112% increase in the first year under President Trump.
Okay, so I never do this on the podcast, but I get very frustrated and maybe I should be grateful, because the media does not tell the truth. And I think it's one of the greatest untold stories, and that is the numbers, the lives behind the numbers. I'm going to put up some full screens. I don't do this on my podcast, but I'm doing it here because the story is so deep, so wide, so profound, and it's impactful to everybody in a small town or a big city across the country. I mean, for example, and I'll put up the first one. Okay, in 4 years, they got 4 of the FBI's 10 most wanted.
Wow.
Under Biden. You've been in office a year when you eventually got sworn in, a little over a year?
Yeah, 14 months.
14 months. Okay. 8 of the 10 most wanted FBI on the FBI most wanted list, 10, 8 out of 10, that is an insane number. Now, I'll add to that, and by the way, in some cases, fugitives that have been on the run 70 years. Mm-hmm. In D.C., where the president put a surge of police instead of defund, you have motor vehicle theft down 56%, homicides down 52%, robbery down 23%, burglary down 21%. Okay, that should be a big story.
Yeah.
Especially in our nation's capital. What President Trump did was resource law enforcement, bring in the interagency, and unlock the FBI's greatest partners, state and local law enforcement authorities. And he went into D.C. and he said, not in the nation's capital. And we also did it in cities across America, whether it's Memphis or Miami or Dallas or San Francisco or L.A. But D.C., with the president's backing and with the backing of local law enforcement there, we were able to completely annihilate violent crime in the nation's capital, as it should be. And again, if you go back to, had President Kamala Harris done this, it would be the only story.
Hold on, I'm getting sick.
that the mainstream media would be talking about. Here's the theme that I think has been leveled by the mainstream media against President Trump. He did everything they wanted done. It's just that he did it, so they're pissed off at him. He shattered violent crime.
You could actually draw a parallel with that with Iran. Even Hillary Clinton said, oh, if I become president, we're going to obliterate Iran.
He safeguarded American communities. We got 8 of the top 10 most wanted. Again, these are just stats we talk about, but we went around the world and found these animals and brought them here. Guys that have been on the run for 60, 70 plus years in total, and put them in American prisons. You can't do that unless you have a commander in chief that says law enforcement is supreme and law enforcement is going to be supreme across the country, because that's what Americans voted for in record numbers when they put President Trump back in office.
All right, so President Trump just came out to address the nation. Let's tune in.
I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war. And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it. I understand that. We had just set a record.
How amazing is that, my friends? The stock market is soaring under President Trump. If you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer right now. You can click the link below. Or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. Just download the app. It's totally free to get started. It's never too late, and who knows, maybe you can even learn so you can help your children or your grandchildren as well. Personally, I started investing, and now my investments are up over $60,000. One of you guys even messaged me saying that you're up over $13,000. I believe this is the best time to start investing while Trump is president, because he's the best leader, and the stock market has been hitting record numbers under his leadership. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take it as your sign. It's totally free, and I break it down easy for you. I even have a free tutorial that I created just for you. It's all in the description box or pinned in the comments.
So, besides myself, have many other media outlets cover this?
I haven't seen too many. You've been...
Have you seen any?
Outside of you guys? No, not really.
Outside of Fox?
No. There's been some, other podcasts and streamers that cover it. Obviously, there's a good amount of them on social media, but
hey, right here, give us a shout out.
No, they won't touch it, and they won't touch it because President Trump did it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put up another screen.
Well, actually, here on my show, I changed my channel name. I'm also changing it, guys. I want to be a source of just pure, unbiased news. So that's kind of my goal here on my channel, is to just be so unbiased that when you come to my show, I'm not shoving my opinion down your throat. I'm just trying to show the facts, the truth about what's going on. So that's my promise to you guys.
Operation Gangster Paradise. 30 pre-dawn raids, 30 alleged members of the Mexican Mafia in Southern California. You've also gone after the hate groups that go after synagogues and target specific groups. Tell us about that.
So 2 things, Sean. When I got to the FBI, I said, what is the one thing that is causing crime across the country? Not just the influx of illegal criminals and violent actors from everywhere in the world. It was localized street gangs. And I've never talked about this because you simply can't on a 3-minute show at night. Localized street gangs that were supported. And I'm not talking TDA and MS-13. We're handling that too. Localized street gangs in LA, in Miami, in Denver, in New York, in Chicago. Do you know how many street gangs we dismantled last year? 1,800 localized street gangs have been eliminated from the streets of America through Operations Gangster Paradise, Operation Viper, and other things that we do. 1,800. That number, Sean, is a 20% increase from 2024. When you wipe out not just the headshed, the overseas components, the TDAs of the world, the MS-13s of the world, and you go down to the root level in the streets of LA and elsewhere and wipe out. And what we did in Philadelphia, I was there on the ground, we literally took out an entire city block in West Philadelphia of a localized street gang. And
that is insane. And look at this. The Fed sees millions in drug raid tied to cartel. Look at this, guys.
Federal agents conducting a massive raid in Los Angeles, targeting what is described as just an open-air drug market. Matt Finn, very familiar with this area of Los Angeles.
Yeah, guys, don't go to frickin' LA right now. It's so dangerous, so bad. And Gavin Newsom and Bass are to blame. But Spencer Pratt, that new LA mayor, that guy's looking really good.
He has the details. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Dana. MacArthur Park is supposed to be a family park, but it's known for brazen drug use, and 2 gangs fight for control of it, MS-13 and their rival 18th Street Gang. I went to the historic park yesterday, just hours before the federal raid. I saw people getting high, and all around were people apparently doing what's called the fentanyl fold, when people's bodies fold in half while on fentanyl. I also saw a young man hit...
Would you wanna walk your kids down... Would you want to take them down the street here? I would feel bad for like a 5-year-old being like, Mommy, what are they doing? And you have to try to tell them, oh, they're just sleeping. It's like, dude, LA is like a 3rd world country right now. Same with New York.
Young man hit the ground, go unconscious. He was revived by LA homeless workers who told him he overdosed, and they left him with boxes of Narcan. Now, shortly after that, 300 federal and local agents stormed the area. They cleared the park. They cut locks on storefronts where drug dealers allegedly stashed product, 6 businesses in total. The DEA tells me they did a 2-month undercover investigation and determined the Sinaloa cartel brings fentanyl and meth into Los Angeles, and it's sold and distributed from the park. 25 people are federally charged, including a female ringleader and her boyfriend associated with the 18th Street Gang. Now, in one stash house alone, 40 pounds of fentanyl was recovered. Street value $8 to $10 million, the equivalent of 190,000 potentially fatal doses.
We're here today because California policies have failed. The policies of California to just let people use drugs open and notoriously with little to no criminal consequences is a failed experiment.
Look at Dr. Oz, guys. He's really in the weeds. You gotta give him credit. I don't think he had any idea that he would be, playing this role, but like, he obviously knows a lot about medicine and drugs, and he's here, like, dealing with this seized fentanyl. You gotta give Dr. Oz some credit. He does look badass there, but it's so funny watching him go from being on the Oprah show to then having his own show to then now running for Pennsylvania senator, losing, and then now look at him. You gotta pray for Dr. Oz, guys.
Now, this massive bust came just hours before a debate in the LA mayor's race, where each candidate, including current Mayor Karen Bass, was asked yes or no on whether they would keep LA's program that hands out clean needles to users.
It's run by the city-run needle program. Right. Yes or no?
Yes.
Councilmember Rahman?
No.
Mr. Pratt?
Absolutely no needles and pipes for drug addicts on the street.
No duh.
And as far as addicts on the street, the feds claim they're going to keep a law enforcement presence at this park. They say their guns are bigger than the drug dealers. Dana?
This guy, Spencer Pratt, his house got burned down. His neighbor's house got burned down. His neighbors, he said, got burned alive in the house fire. This guy's pissed, and he actually wants to fix things. He's not a career politician. He has no background in politics, but he has the drive, the emotion, and the passion to fix Los Angeles, and I think he can do it. I really think he's the last hope for Los Angeles. And this guy, Nick Shirley's been exposing a lot. He was the one who actually showed the whole needle situation, but look at this. Nick Shirley confronted people walking out of a dilapidated California hospice center which received millions of tax dollars, and they jumped in expensive cars.
So what do you think about all this hospice fraud? Sir, you're in the Cybertruck, driving away, taking money from
those cars are like super, I believe they used to be over 100K.
People. Yet he's just driving away in his Cybertruck, won't even answer any questions. Let's see, we have another rich person as well that's getting rich off this hospice.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of arrests with that going on.
On this shit, he's cracking all kinds of cases.
Bro, the stuff that he just found in California is bonkers.
If you see that guy in your town, you're fucked.
Yeah,
he's a persistent little queef, that
guy.
Did
you see what the governor posted, what Newsom's press office posted? They posted a photo of Nick Shirley, like a fake Nick Shirley, like a meme, like Nick Shirley peeking into windows. Like, hey, he's doing your job. He's uncovering fraud, and what you're doing is mocking him?
Right. You should go, oh shit, this fraud?
Yeah.
I'm the governor.
They should just open up the investigations into all these places immediately if you cared, but all they want to do is just obfuscate, cover it up, make it look silly.
Yeah.
Make it look like he's something, whatever he is, white supremacist.
Right, MAGA.
Nazi, whatever, MAGA. Come up with a name.
I don't want to get to my kids at a Somali daycare right now, so I don't want to say anything crazy.
Now, President Trump just came out to address the nation. Let's listen in.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
How amazing is that, my friends? The stock market is soaring under President Trump. If you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer right now. You can click the link below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. Just download the app. It's totally free to get started. It's never too late, and who knows, maybe you can even learn so you can help your children or your grandchildren as well. Personally, I started investing, and now my investments are up over $60,000. One of you guys even messaged me saying that you're up over $13,000. I believe this is the best time to start investing while Trump is president, because he's the best leader, and the stock market has been hitting record numbers under his leadership. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take it as your sign. It's totally free, and I break it down easy for you. I even have a free tutorial that I created just for you. It's all in the description box or pinned in the comments. It's insane though, the stuff that's been going on, guys. Let's get back to Kash Patel.
They're all in prison. They're the ones dealing dope. They're the ones getting illegal firearms. They're the ones holding up everyday Americans as hostage and stealing their money and jacking their cars. That was a power that had not been unleashed. And this is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI agents have come to me time and time again and said, we have been waiting 15 to 20 years to be able to do our job on the streets of America. And they're doing it because President Trump gave us the authority to do it.
You know, maybe this is a good moment to pause and get into this whole ideology, philosophy. It's being pushed by the left. Defund, dismantle, no bail, reimagine the police. Okay, that's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, just look at the tragedies of this cashless bail policy. Every month we read about some violent offender who gets bail on a violent crime and goes out and does what? Murders a young American. Deals fentanyl to young school children, and they overdose and die. And that had never been highlighted except by President Trump. He's turning every democratic weaponized institution of justice on its head and challenging them to say, why aren't you passing these laws that are leading to the aimless deaths of young Americans? And again, he's the one centering the focus point on law enforcement. And that's what we're doing. We have to have state and local legislators fix that problem. President Trump can't do it at the federal level, but what we can do is make sure we roll these guys up, which we're doing in record numbers, and put them behind federal bars so they don't ever get out.
Whoa, so that's a huge update that they're wanting not to put them behind state bars, because that's when you have the policies of the state releasing them early, but federal bars, that's different, guys.
Isn't it, I say this often, isn't it a prerequisite to pursue happiness? To be able to pursue it, you need law and order, you need safety and security.
Yeah.
And that's not the life many Americans live. They don't have, if you're talking about entire streets, neighborhoods that are overrun by the gangs, the mobs, the little mafia groups, and then the bigger groups, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, etc. I mean, how do people pursue happiness when they are being terrorized?
That's just it. Now we're back on track to letting them pursue happiness. And if I could just tell a story out of my life,
yeah,
what I'm trying to do, what drives me every single day. You're talking to a kid, the son of parents who fled a genocidal dictatorship in East Africa,
right,
emigrated here lawfully, and watched their son become the director of the FBI. That is the American dream. But it's not about me. It's about capturing that lightning in a bottle and handing that American dream to every single kid out there. That's what President Trump's driving. More and more young Americans, more and more communities are saying the American dream, the right to pursue happiness, is back. Don't listen to me. When I go out, I go to field offices across the country. I stop in cafes across the country, and people come up to me and say, thank you to President Trump, my community's safe. Thank you to President Trump, the kids in our high school aren't overdosing on fentanyl. Thanks to President Trump, gangbangers aren't shooting people like they are in the streets of Chicago, where that governor and that mayor won't let us in to help the citizens of Chicago, even though President Trump has asked time and time again.
It infuriates me, you know, since Obama became president in 2009 on the TV show, you know, we talk about the two examples in Minneapolis, where the woman tried, whatever her name is, Renee Good, and this guy Preddy, whatever his name is. However, every weekend you can predict with pinpoint certainty in Chicago how many people will be shot, how many people will be shot and killed. I've asked Democrat after Democrat on my shows, can you name one person shot in your city? They can't name one because they can't weaponize it and use it to bludgeon Donald Trump or use it politically. Isn't that how I thought every life mattered?
Let's just look at Chicago for a second, Sean. How many times does a kid under the age of 10 have to be shot and caught in the crosshairs of gang fire before they'll do anything? How many stories of that? Double-digit stories from just last year alone. That, if it had happened under any other administration, would be the only headline saying, why is law enforcement failing its most vulnerable citizens? But they wash over it because it's President Trump and this FBI. Even without Chicago's help, Sean, we've reduced violent crime in Chicago by 25 points. By 25 points. We're doing it anyway. And in spite of resistance. And if they let us in, like they did in D.C., like they did in Memphis under the president's task force, those numbers would be double. We'd be saving twice as many lives.
It really is amazing. Explain, and I'll put this up on the screen, the 400 FBI agents that dedicated to Indian County, or country rather, 3 brand new task force that you put together. That was a big deal that didn't get any press.
I'm so glad you brought this up. This is one of my passion projects. I think everybody in the United States of America deserves the same brand of law enforcement. Indian country, our 575 dedicated Indian tribes across the land, deserve the same brand of justice. If you go onto any reservation, and I've been on more reservations as FBI director than anyone before me combined, and you talk about missing kids, you talk about murders, you talk about unsolved violent crimes, they are plagued by it. Just last week, I was in Montana on the Crow Reservation. It's the size of Rhode Island and Connecticut combined.
Wow.
They got 5 cops. 5 cops.
What?
And so what we're doing is we did a durational program last summer called Operation Not Forgotten. We just lost Operation Steadfast Promise, which is going to dedicate 400 plus agents and intel analysts across Indian country for the entire year. We solved, I think, 2,000 cases on Indian country last year alone. I want that number doubled this year. We're going to solve the mysteries behind the gruesome murder of the Emily Pikes of the world. We're not going to forget Indian country. And I'm so glad you brought it up because this is representative of millions of people across the country who think they've been forgotten by law enforcement. But when I go and see them, they say, President Trump's the first guy to send law enforcement here and show up and ask for a partnership. And we're going to continue that.
Anti-ICE protesters mob hospital and block emergency entrances. This is getting crazy and also dangerous because if people need to go to the hospital, you have liberals protesting in front of the hospitals, preventing people from actually getting care. All right, let's tune in, guys. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Wow.
Chaotic clash. Police arresting 9 anti-ICE protesters after they mobbed a
9 libs got arrested, guys.
New York City hospital Saturday night. But of course, Mayor Zohran Mamdani not missing a chance to go after the immigration agency, saying in a statement, quote, I've said time and time again.
Why would they disrupt a hospital, though? What is that? What point are they trying to prove there?
ICE raids are cruel and inhumane. They do nothing to serve the interests of public safety. Joining me now, former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, it gets worse. Those
So getting rid of criminals doesn't help the public? What is Mamdani saying?
Protesters. They were literally blocking emergency exits and entrances to a hospital. So imagine, grandma's having a heart attack and she can't get in because of the chaos you're seeing on screen. But wait, there's more. Governor Hochul and her fellow Democrats in the state assembly actually want to pass a new law that makes it harder than what you're seeing on the screen for ICE agents to do their job. What's going on?
I think with this, we are back to the tactics of subversion, right? Because you notice that the DHS shutdown ended, and now we're back to another one of these instances. And this person that these protesters, or quote-unquote protesters, were trying to protect, he had a prior, I think, arrest or conviction for assault, a prior drug offense, and tried to run over the ICE agents, and this is a person that they're trying to protect. It's really shameful. Mamdani's shameful. He has no right to set his own immigration law. And then you go to the Hochul, the new laws, which incidentally are unconstitutional. And I'd love it if somebody were to ask her how they would seek to enforce these laws limiting ICE in their state, because they are clearly a violation of the supremacy clause. But again, it's just performative politics over public safety that we've seen time and again. And unfortunately, the citizens of New York, and like you said, the people at that hospital there could have been some emergency. Somebody could have been harmed or killed because of their antics. It's so shameful.
Yeah, as we look at this video, continuing, imagine you are about to give birth. You know, your mom was about to give birth, and you drive into this. Imagine you're, just sick. Imagine your kid falls and they need to be rushed to the emergency room, and you see this. It is sad from so many perspectives, but also you mentioned something. Remember in January with all the anti-ICE protests, it's like they had their moment there. That moment went away and they need something new. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing what we're seeing on screen, Jonathan. It is sad. Speaking of also concerning and staying here in New York, there are some woke bills.
And look at this, jaw-dropping fraud numbers revealed over the raids going on in Minnesota.
The White House is holding fraudsters accountable in Minnesota. Brian's thrilled. The FBI raiding more than 20 businesses as part of an investigation into social services fraud. And a surprising reaction from Tim Walz on X, the governor coming out in support of the raid and even claiming credit for it.
So now all of a sudden Tim Walz wants credit for exposing the fraud? Come on, dude.
This is after Walz allowed fraud to run rampant across Minnesota under his watch.
This is like the arsonist trying to claim credit for the work of the fire department, because Tim Walz let this fraud happen under his watch. Whether he was complicit in it directly himself or just turned a blind eye towards it, we really did not get much help at all from the governor's office.
All right, Larry, I love it. Keep going for it, because that helps the spending side of the thing. So we cannot focus on the revenue and all these new taxes, focus on the spending if we want to get serious about balancing our budget.
Yes, and I think the GOP, and I've said this, I've been campaigning for a much different budget bill. I don't want a skinny reconciliation bill. I want a big fat one like we had last year that would include all this waste, fraud, and abuse, which is a matter of public record, all right? And if Governor Walz wants to play, fine, but it's a bit late. But the point is, there's a couple of $100 billion at least, okay? That's what the GAO is now putting out.
Yeah.
Most of it is coming, unfortunately, from Medicare and Medicaid, but not all of it. Look, the GAO a couple years ago said it could have been $500 billion. When I interviewed Elon Musk over a year ago, he was using GAO numbers over $500 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse. $500 billion, mind you. That's a lot. And if you look at that over 10 years, which is how these budgets are constructed, you could save a fortune. I mean, you could lower marginal tax rates. You could cut back on federal spending and deficits and all borrowing and all this stuff. Why they won't do it? It's odd to me that they're not talking it up, because it's very popular.
Dagan's our Medicaid queen, and it's because the more people you have on the government rolls, the more power that you get, because then they are dependent on you. And that's what the liberals want.
Medicaid is a liability with no ceiling, because the more the states spend, the more the federal...
Do you guys think that Tim Walz is actually helping? You know, is Tim Walz, like, why is he taking credit for this?
House Republicans squeaked out a string of wins on Capitol Hill this week. In addition to ending a months-long DHS shutdown, lawmakers passed support for farmers and extended...
We have breaking news here. 9 arrested, 77 vehicles impounded, Bay Bridge takeover.
Let's go ahead and begin with an update to the Bay Bridge
California arrests.
Takeover yesterday. Dozens of dirt bikes and ATVs tied up traffic on the bridge for an hour. And today we're learning about new arrests. Let's go and bring in our Sergio Quintana, who's been tracking the story for us today. Sergio, what's the latest?
Well, today we learned a lot more details about not only the operation to try to deal with this incident that basically was in the East Bay and then came here to San Francisco, and then the riders attempted to go back, but also the amount of vehicles that were actually impounded and the arrests made as well. Now, in social media video that was posted by some of those riders, you can see some of those stunt maneuvers heading on the upper level of the Bay Bridge to San Francisco. But there's also some brand new video that the Oakland Police Department just shared on their social media handles. And in this video, you can see this is the point where officers are actually trying to block off those riders from entering Oakland, and those riders are riding back in the wrong direction of the new span of the Bay Bridge, trying to evade those police officers. A little bit later in that video, you can also see that they actually start trying to kettle them in a little bit closer so they can start to try to make the arrests. We understand that during this whole process, there was even one person who apparently jumped a fence and then jumped into the water right off of the Oakland Bay Bridge, the new span. The fire department had to go in and rescue him and take him out. That is one of the people that was arrested. We understand that in total there were 9 people arrested.
Look at these people in California. California is out of control. Gavin Newsom needs to get his act together because holy crap, guys, this is insane. Look at this one. Minnesota fraud suspect flees the country before his trial. I don't want to assume anything about where he's from, but let's take a wild guess.
A major Medicaid fraud trial in Hennepin County is now canceled after the defendant disappeared. Authorities are searching for Abdi Rashid Saeed, charged for his role in an $11 million scheme. And as Lou Raguse is here to explain, all it took was $150,000 to avoid the consequences. Lou?
Julie, it was a bail amount lower than prosecutors wanted, and it came with no guardrails. Abdi Rashid Saeed had his passport and technically no travel restrictions.
Part of our culture to help people.
Abdi Rashid Saeed is the original personal care assistant company fraudster who stole taxpayer money while claiming to operate out of this mailbox. Office on Central Avenue in Northeast.
He operated out of a mailbox.
Minneapolis. After he was convicted in 2021 and ordered to have nothing to do with companies that receive Medicaid money, other PCA companies took his place at the Central Avenue office, and Saeed started receiving checks from them.
Were those checks for employment for you, Mr. Saeed?
No.
What were they for?
Loans.
At a probation violation hearing, Saeed claimed the checks were loans, including to pay back his restitution in the first fraud case. Investigators didn't buy it, and they charged Saeed, along with the owners of the other PCA companies, of racketeering, a conspiracy to steal $11 million of taxpayer money, uncovering text messages between them saying things like, "I'm going to overbill the hours."
No, Your Honor. Our culture is we trust one another.
Prosecutors also charged Saeed with perjury, and his trial Monday was set to be the crowning moment in the state's long investigation. But according to multiple sources, he has instead successfully fled the country.
How was he able to get on a plane? That's what I don't understand at all. Look at this one. Minnesota woman convicted of fraud speaks out from jail.
And a Fox News alert also in Minnesota, the convicted ringleader of one of the state's biggest fraud schemes is speaking to Fox News from behind bars. Now, she believes that the scam was no surprise to local Democratic leaders, and she's naming names. She spoke to Alexis McAdams. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Dana. Yeah, so everywhere you look in the state of Minnesota, right, there seems to be another fraud scam. So this one involves Amy Bach. She's a Minnesota woman convicted of fraud for taking taxpayer money that was meant to feed hungry kids. But listen to this. Bach tells me the real issue here is the state of Minnesota, which she says kept giving scammers your taxpayer money even after they were flagged as fraudsters.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware. But apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything.
So Bach ran this nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. You might have heard of it. It was one of dozens convicted in this $250 million scam. You can see her mugshot there. Prosecutors say this group set up sham restaurants. They pretended they were making these meals. They got paid by the state for those meals, but they just pocketed the cash. Bach, who's looking at 30 years behind bars, tells me the state signed off on those businesses, not her.
It all went through a process. They were all approved. They were all paid by the state, yet all the fingers are being pointed at me.
And it's not just Bach. Whistleblowers told a congressional committee Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison there ignored warnings for years as millions of dollars and millions were stolen on their watch. Congress is investigating a long list of massive fraud schemes in the state. It's hard to keep up. Prosecutors say it's led to at least $9 billion in fraud, Dana, and counting. Congress also asking why the Attorney General there would meet with a group of Somali fraudsters, which were were under FBI investigation in 2021.
So is this guy going to face legal trouble too? So Ilhan Omar could actually be in big trouble. There's a deadline today with her.
Minnesota lawmakers are asking Congresswoman Ilhan Omar to respond by Tuesday regarding questions about a statewide child nutrition fraud scheme. The lawmakers are seeking Omar's written and electronic communications involving the state's Feeding Our Future program, which misused millions of dollars in taxpayer funds. State lawmakers specifically hoping to look at Omar's correspondence with the owners of the Safari restaurant. State lawmakers point out Omar was a regular at that restaurant, staging many campaign events there. Its owners recently pleaded guilty for their role in the $250 million fraud scheme.
Wow.
Now, Omar's team and allies have largely framed allegations trying to link her to fraud as politically motivated and not substantiated. But for more on this, we are joined by Minnesota.
So do you guys think Ilhan will actually, you know, get with that? Because look at this, Ilhan Omar's wine company closes after accidentally claiming it was worth $1 million. It closed.
Breaking news, Ilhan Omar's husband's wine company has been legally dissolved. You are looking at the state of California certificate of cancellation for Est Crew. That is the wine company owned in part by Tim Wynette, the Minnesota Congresswoman's spouse.
Look at when it was closed, 4/4/2026. This was last month. They just closed it after getting exposed. What the heck?
And Tim Walz, and obviously Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Learning Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along.
I honestly think that Ilhan Omar is just so pissed because she sees how great our country is doing right now, and they're actually finding out a lot of this stuff that she didn't want anybody to know about. I mean, think about it. All of this stuff is getting exposed. America is thriving right now. Our country is safer. We're spending less money on corruption. Our economy is booming. The stock market is booming. President Trump is even urging us all to celebrate and join him. Take a listen.
You better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before.
Rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher.
How amazing is that, my friends? The stock market is soaring under President Trump. If you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer right now. You can click the link below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. Just download the app. It's totally free to get started. It's never too late, and who knows, maybe you can even learn so you can help your children or your grandchildren as well. Personally, I started investing, and now my investments are up over $60,000. One of you guys even messaged me saying that you're up over $13,000. I believe this is the best time to start investing while Trump is president, because he's the best leader, and the stock market has been hitting record numbers under his leadership. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take it as your sign. It's totally free, and I break it down easy for you. I even have a free tutorial that I created just for you. It's all in the description box or pinned in the comments.